So crypto, I also did a lot of research, just like I did learning, investing, and all that stuff. I wanted to make sure I knew and downloaded all the information that I could in my head before I even started to risk money.
Loan, when do you have to like start just fixing it? Because I was thinking in terms of the loan. How many years will the loan will be? And then so the tenant is paying for it, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then, but then at some point you have to do some, I guess, renovations, or you have to.
Yeah, it's just normal house renovations because it's built like a house.
Yeah.
So it's imagine a bigger house but condensed. And now I know what to look for. You do that, and then it does better, and then it crashes. You're like, okay, what did this project do differently? So I learned fairly quickly what not to get into and what to get into. And at the end of it, I didn't lose a lot of money. I mean, comparatively to what I was making.
Welcome once again to another episode of Hablemos de Real Estate with Carlos Amaya. We have an amazing guest with an amazing story. So first of all, let me say hi to Arjay.
Hello.
Arjay.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to have you here. You have an amazing story from the Philippines, medical background, physical therapy, and then IT, and now construction company. It's something that I'm really passionate about. I wanted to learn is the tiny homes. I think that's pretty cool. So thank you for being here. First of all, I want to thank the God for the opportunity to stay here. We connected through a group, Go Abundance, as a matter of fact, I'm represented today, and then also we share faith. So, RJ, what's up, man? Thank you for coming.
Thank you. This is so exciting. You have such a super cool setup here. I need to start taking some notes and improve my setup.
Sometimes I wish the camera can record.
I know, it looks cool.
it looks better. What you guys can see, it looks better. No, not today because RJ's here. So let's start from the beginning. Amazing story. Ideally, we want to talk about obviously what you're doing right now, construction and the tiny homes. But so you were born in the Philippines. When you get here, how was for your adaptation? And then physical therapy, man. That's pretty cool. And then you ended up in IT and all those things that you. It's a great story. So, how was your beginning when you got here from the Philippines? Did you recall? I mean, you were 4 years old, correct?
I was 4 years old when I moved to Chicago.
Did you recall anything about it? And how did you decide to go to the physical therapy? And then IT and a little bit about that, and then we dive into real estate, which is we want to know it all, but obviously real estate is part of that.
Yeah, so arrived in Chicago when I was 4. Didn't remember much. Went to school there, middle school, high school, and I graduated high school early. I graduated a semester early, so I went into.
How did you do that? How did you graduate early?
I had enough credits in high school. Yeah, in high school to graduate early. So graduated early. I was amongst like a small percentage of people that graduated school early. Now, funny story. I'm not very good at school. I don't like school, but I graduated early, and I went into a community college to get my prerequisites and my gen eds, and decided to go into physical therapy. I was like, coming from an Asian household, they push a lot of health into you. Become a nurse, become a doctor, or become a lawyer.
I was thinking about that. I didn't want to have the perception like, it happens in a lot of like the culture, the Latino community. We have our industries as well. That like grandpa, dad, uncle were part of it. So we wanna that's kind of what we know. So in your family, physical therapy was something that was around.
Sure. Yeah. They wanted me to go into the health field. And so I was like, okay, physical therapy, I don't need to be injecting people. I don't need to be cutting people up. I don't know if I had the stomach for it. So I was like, physical therapy is at least still in the medical industry and I can help people. So I went in there and I interned at a place called City Kids, which is a special rehabilitation for special needs kids. Okay. And it was really fulfilling. It was really nice. But at the same time, I also emotionally felt like I could do more. I wish I could do more. And it almost ate me up in the inside. And you start getting attached to these kids. And so the internship ended. And then I interned from one extreme to another and went into a nursing home and started helping them there. Unfortunately, at the nursing home, you got attached to them and they would start passing away. So that was sad. And at that time, I was like, you know what, this isn't for me. I need to understand my own personal, I can't do this. And so I quit physical therapy altogether. I had some college credits in there, but after that, I went straight into technology.
Yeah, and I feel that that's something that happens with sometimes people on the other side of the coin say, oh, how come people, doctors, nurses, physical therapy, they don't have like a heart, but at the end of the day, sometimes they have to do it that way because if they absorb everything and they get all those emotions, like you said, the patient might not make it, or things go the different way. So you can feel all of that. So. Tell me about your family. You say, I'm not going to do more physical therapy. So what did they say? That's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, coming from an Asian household, it's definitely, they always voice their concern, their opinion. They always want what's best for you.
Latinos do the same.
Yeah, they want what's best for you, but they deliver it in a manner that's like, okay. So they're like, we're here to support you. Let's see what you want to do. And so I got a job at a technology institute for mobile phones. And so it was a startup and it was entry level, but I was fairly good at technology. I can build a computer from scratch. And so I said, I'll do this. No. And I said,
like the usual. Yeah, just build a computer.
So yeah, I was uniquely skilled for that. So I realized that in technology, no one was dying or passing away on me. I didn't have to get emotionally attached to technology.
The computer might get a virus,
but it's okay. Yeah. So I would get in there and work my way up from the technology field from there.
Okay, so you got into technology, completely different animal, you can call it that way. This is human beings, and you have like the machine that you've been working. How was the transition in terms of like just having the interaction? It seems like you said that with the kids, you wanted to do more for them. For the seniors, you want to hopefully just take care of them, and then they die. How was it that transition to like, okay, now with computers, and then you've been like doing whatever you're doing for a long time? I guess not a lot of interaction with other humans. Obviously, you have people around you, but it's not as much. How did that play out?
That transition was fairly easy because, I mean, going from a medical field to technology, going into technology, it just felt natural to be in it. I can troubleshoot something very quickly. My critical thinking came in pretty quick. And then I was just interacting with normal people, and people weren't passing away, or I wasn't getting emotionally attached to the work. So it was very easy as a transition from medical to technology.
So I guess the first couple days, weeks, years, I don't know how long you did it, you're like in a honeymoon stage. Yeah, you're like, okay, this is it. It was great, love it. I don't have the emotional attachment with the human being. Yeah. When did you decide, this is not for me? Because a lot of people say, you know what, I might choose the wrong path in terms of the medical field. And then I said, IT, great, I don't have those things that I was wrestling in the other area. When did you decide that you didn't want to continue with there?
So I worked in IT, my gosh, probably from 2005 all the way till 2021.
Oh, that was 16 years.
Yeah, it was about 14, 15 years, I think, is my resume, my official resume. So, yeah. I mean, I worked and continued to work my way up and I started working for big financial institutes as their senior engineer for infrastructure and technology. All these fancy words. My parents were proud. I was getting promoted.
That was a long title.
That was a long title. Senior infrastructure engineer. So I could put that in the email. But around maybe 2017 is when I had realized that I don't think I want to do this anymore. Something in me really started to eat at me, and I didn't want to be a corporate 9-to-5 person for the rest of my life. And so around 2017 is when I really started to educate myself on everything investing related, stocks, crypto, real estate. Like I just continued to absorb all the information around 2017.
Great. So 2017, you said you did the transition 2021. So it's 4 years. Are you like consuming a lot of data? Yes. I guess basically mainly like YouTube and okay. So it goes to another point that a lot of people do that, and the statistics so like it shows that 85% of the people that work in a W-2 they want to leave the job. So that means that pretty much almost everybody.
Yeah,
but not that many people do it. That's it, because so many variables. They love they have like a secure paycheck and everything else. In your case, 4 years. A lot of people have the analysis paralysis. I know people have been thinking about it for the last 10, 15 years. And in your case, what was the trigger, and how easy was doing the transition? Did you got something that already established on the side, which is what people recommend? So you don't have to jump like into the cliff, or you just took a leap of faith and you say, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah, I wish I was. You're laughing. I wish I was the other one that just took a leap of faith, but I was very like much everyone else. That is very difficult to take that chance. I mean, for 15 plus years, I had a paycheck, a steady paycheck that I will always have money coming in every 2 weeks. So the transition was I had built up some real estate on the side. So around 2015 was when I purchased my first property. Okay. So that was my permanent resident. But a couple months in already, I figured that, I'd spoken to my mom and I said, well, I'll keep these 2 rooms open because, for when you guys visit. And my mom was like, well, it's not, that's nice of you, but we'll visit maybe 2-3 times a year. Other than that, it's vacant. And so you should try renting it out. And I was like, okay, I'm single. I don't have anyone yet, so I'll try it. So I tried with one. And it was very easy. It was a very tough learning process along the way because I had to come up with contracts. I had to come up with tenants that I knew wanted to live with me because we're sharing a home. So I rented out 1 room, and right immediately my mortgage was cut in half. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm single.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that advice. And so maybe a couple months later, I filled out the second room. I said, you know what, this is cool. As long as I can find people that are getting along with each other, I think we can do this. And so I rented out the second room, and then my mortgage was paid for. Now my W-2, which was a 6-figure salary, was now paying me, and I didn't have a mortgage, which is one of the biggest expenses for people.
No, totally. You were part of the Cash for Breakfast Club last month, and one of the homework for the people that if you're watching to us and you're gonna come to the next it's gonna be next week, as a matter of fact, is how can you get rid of your housing expenses? And I get you at that point. You were like, yeah, I did that. So it was like, how can you get back Tuesdays and Wednesdays? So you did it. You did that. So I guess you have 2 different options at that point. Just increase your expenses. You buy a nicer car, or you spend the money any other way, or you continue investing. So which path did you took?
I bought an Audi and a motorcycle.
And a car and a motorcycle, yeah. I just want to live in a car, boy.
Gotta be honest. I did. At the time, I was still pretty, I would say I was still pretty young and still in the mid-20s at the time, late 20s. So I was like, I've never seen this much money ever, right? My mortgage is paid for. My career in W-2 is really good. And I have all this excess capital. I was like, let's buy a nicer car. Let's buy a motorcycle, things that I love to do. And eventually, I was still really, the W-2 was paying for a lot. So from 2015, I still saved up enough. And then 2019, I purchased my second property that I was going to live in.
So you pretty much, I think we talked about that a couple of days ago. So you can house hack. Yes. So the property. So you moved to the next property, and this property was located where? Here in Charlotte?
Yeah, it was only 2 blocks away from my other property. It was perfect. I got lucky on that one.
Yeah, you got lucky, and it was bigger the house. Because you have did you get like an FHA loan for that one too?
Yeah, it was
because
easy.
You have to prove it. That you have to prove it. There's gonna be like an improvement.
Yeah.
So you bought another single family house.
Yeah, I did.
You left the other one rent.
I did. I did a co-living.
Oh, you co-living?
I rented each room.
Who cares about Sam Wigger? Okay. See, you've been doing it way before.
I did this.
No, I'm kidding, Sam. I love you. You are the co-living king. You've been doing it for a long time. Okay, so you were doing co-living.
I did.
How was that? I mean, because it's different when you have like roommates and they know you own the place. You kind of have some rules, I guess. And then but now the house by themselves, and the house is there, and they have to share bathrooms, refrigerator, everything. I know, and we're gonna talk about tiny homes, but one of the great things about real estate is that it is evolving to a pace that things like co-living, which for our community, your community, my community, something that we're doing it for a long time. For the people in Europe, they've been doing it for a long time. Here in the United States, people kind of like, oh, I don't want to share a house. I don't want to share a bathroom. Although we do that all the time when you go to the gym. So how was it? How was that? Just removing yourself from the house and then having the rules and the structure. And did you have people? Did you give them leases? How did you handle it? Because at that point, this was 2019, correct?
Correct.
That was 5 years ago. I never heard about co-living as a term.
Yeah.
Like the last couple of years, as a term, even if you pick your pocket, they never mention it. Yeah. Yes. House hacking has been there for a long time.
Yeah.
But co-living as a structure, I think is the last couple of years the people like Sam and the Pat Split, sure. they've been talking about it. So how was it? How did you structure it? And any nightmares?
There were a few nightmares for sure, but it was one of those things where at the time when I was living at my other property, 2 rooms were already rented out. So all I had to do was move out and then find a tenant for the primary, which had its own bathroom. So I was able to charge a little more on that, especially if they knew they had a private bathroom.
Sure.
And I didn't even know about house hacking really before podcasts and Bigger Pockets really started to sensationalize the word house hacking. But I didn't know I was house hacking, nor did I know I was co-living at the time. I just knew that I liked this structure of renting by the room, because if we were to give raw numbers, let's say my mortgage was $1,000 at the time. And if I charge $650 per room and then maybe $700 or $750 for the primary, the cash flow is much higher. And I still have access to the property because it's almost like a little apartment building yourself. So you can still go in, check on the.
That's huge that you mentioned, because when you have it, we still have tenants in New Jersey. And you have to obviously be respectful, but you have to ask for access, and it's sometimes even when we want to check things out, we have to figure out like they give you they let you in. When you have a co-living, yes, the house is great because you can just go in and out at any time, because it's like it's not a hotel, but it's like you have like common areas.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nightmares. What kind of nightmares do you have?
I was pretty decent at this time now.
Oh, let me go back. So who were the tenants? Were people that used to work with you, and people that you know, or people from the street that you put an ad and people say, yeah, they raise their hands and say, we want to live there. So what kind? Because sometimes if you know them, it's good or bad. Because good because you know who they are, and it's bad because they know who you are. So
yeah, I found I did the majority of my listings actually at the time on Craigslist.
Okay.
So I was just saying, hey, I have a room here looking for a professional tenant, good things. Like I had a criteria of what I wanted to look for. I just wasn't pulling anyone. And so that's how I was able, from 2015 all the way to 2019, I'd already established a pretty good structure for myself, how to find tenants. And so, yeah, I was just finding them from Craigslist. I wasn't using anything professional or paid at the time.
Okay, so what was the criteria?
So my criteria, and this is where I started to learn about the fair housing and stuff like that, because I put originally, I said young professional, and that word triggered something in the algorithm and said you are breaking Fair Housing Act, and I didn't know that. I was like, I'm looking at my thing, it's not discriminating at all, and I figured it was the word young. So the original post said looking for a young professional, and I mean, I was very honest with the post. I said, we're not looking, this isn't a dormitory, this isn't a party place, this is for a safe place for people to relax and come home to and feel safe. And of course, other people that were looking for that thing gravitated toward each other, right? If you were looking for a party house, this isn't it. I'm telling you now, this isn't it. And I told them. And so people that came to me was fairly serious already. They wanted, hey, you know what? This fits my budget. And right now I'm looking for a space that I can call home, but at the same time, I don't have to worry that the other people are sketchy.
Sure.
So the criteria was really a professional that is seeking for a safe space that they can lay their heads down safely at night, knowing that the other people in there went through the same rigorous thing that they went through with me.
Great. Nightmares.
Yeah. Nightmares. So not all of them will be sunshines and rainbows. There will be some that interviewed very well, and then they get through and you realize they're just an absolute nightmare. When people are interviewing, they always put their best foot forward.
Of course, yes. That's the dating stages. I always say with people dating, yeah. So.
Yeah. So they put their best foot forward, and you're like, wow, this guy's amazing. He's got a good job, et cetera, et cetera. I realized later on that 2 of the tenants was not getting along. I did not know about this until later. Later, then they told me that, hey, listen, I have a problem with that other tenant. He keeps playing his video games way too loud, et cetera, and I want to sue him. I was like, sue him? I was like, for what? And he's like, he's breaking the law of North Carolina that quiet time is at 11 o'clock, and he's playing till all hours of the night. And I needed to now investigate on my own, and I was like, this is a little ridiculous. And nothing ever came of it. I just told him that if you guys want to do this, it's between you guys. it's not on me. You have a problem with that person. And the only thing I did to make sure that I was fine from that is that I made sure that I emailed and texted that tenant to make sure, hey, make sure you're respecting quiet time. And this is my notification and my pretty much warning to you.
Sure.
And that was it. So I don't know what came of that, but yeah, I mean, those two were butting heads. And apparently the other tenant that was just so quiet told me one night he woke up to go to the kitchen and he saw the tenant sitting in the middle of the hallway waiting for the other guy to come out of the room with a gun.
Oh my God.
I was like, what? And so, you know, I cut the lease with that guy. Now, also, I don't know if this helps, but when I first started doing this, I wasn't doing 1-year leases. I was doing 3 to 6 month leases. That way I can see if this works. So worst case scenario, people were there for 3 months. Best case scenario, they are amazing and we can just extend the lease.
Okay.
So he was a shorter lease. Cut the lease. I said, hey, this isn't working out. Your last date is this date. So yeah, that's probably one of the.
And he moved out, no
he
problem.
did, no problem. He would still text me later asking for that person's information because he does want to seek legal action.
Huh.
And I said, listen, I cannot help because now you are no longer part of the property. His information is private. I can't just give that to you.
Sure.
And so, yeah, that was it. That was
that
was one of the nightmares. But other than that, very, very good in terms of.
And the returns a lot better than just run the whole house by itself. So so you did that for how many years?
So Brandy and I, my wife, we co-live.
Hey, wife.
Yeah, I got married somewhere in there. Just all of a sudden married.
It's funny because so you moved from 2017 to 2019, and now we're talking about Brandy. So
yeah, so we did that pretty much all the way up until 2013.
Okay,
2013, and then at the time there were a lot
2023.
2023, yes, I'm sorry, 2023, and then we saw some other investment opportunities. So I sold the current primary resident, which at the time I was Airbnb-ing both the rooms in our primary residence.
Okay.
So that other one that I bought 2019, I was Airbnb-ing.
So you were doing co-living and Airbnb.
Yes, co-living on the old property. Co-living on the old, Airbnb in the new.
Okay, and how was that? How was that one working out for you? Airbnb.
Yeah, Airbnb was amazing in terms of revenue. The income was amazing. The guests were nightmares.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, for sure. Some of them would cook fish and stink up the entire house, and you can't say anything because you're sharing the house. But I mean, like, one room would pay for the entire mortgage just from the short-term rental income alone, and then the second would just be doubled. So you're almost doubling your revenue.
So they were paying you to be there.
Yes.
It's funny that you mentioned about cooking fish because I heard this story multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Like and I hear it from both sides and decide like I don't know what to complain. We just cooking fish. Smell the whole house. Yeah. Okay, so you did that, and then what did you transition to? So you say, okay, so I'm not. Did you sold both of the properties?
I was holding both properties until 2022, 2023.
Okay, and what did you do with them?
So what ended up happening was I sold the 2019 property because at the time, like I said, there was new investment opportunities for me, and at the same time, Brandy and I were about to get married, so things were changing a little bit.
Okay,
and when I was able to do this, I was single, and it was easy for me to rent the rooms and stuff like that. But some people can still do that with a spouse, but for me, I started to realize that it wasn't for me at the time.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure she's safe and all that stuff. So around 2022, 2023, we listed our current primary residence for sale, and what we were going to do is we were just going to move back to the other one.
Sure, to 2017.
To the 2015 house.
15. Okay.
Yeah, and so those tenants would just. I would terminate their lease, and we would just move in and remodel everything and move in. That was such a process because Brandy and I were technically homeless for about a month.
Oh, so you guys ended up doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I guess at the same time, I miss all these other houses that I was talking about. So we bought another one in 2020 in Gastonia in North Carolina. And that one was cash flowing. I got that property from another meetup group, the one we were talking about.
Okay.
And then in 2000.
And what was that like? long-term rental or co-living?
That one's long-term rental.
Long-term rental, okay.
Yeah, single family.
You kind of tired of the co-living.
Yeah, no, I wasn't tired. That property that I obtained just so happened it was a 1-bedroom, 1-bath.
Okay. Yeah. And also the area works out to be like, okay, cool.
And then 2021, we purchased a fix and flip in Chicago. 2020, 2021. And this one was one of the biggest ones because it was pretty much in the middle of the pandemic.
Okay.
And so, but the returns were amazing. So if we bought the property for $260,000, it ARV'd for close to $500,000.
Wow.
And we probably would only put in about $65,000 in the fix. But this was in Chicago. And this is where my family is. So we did this split and shared fix and flip together. Flipped it super fast. We flipped it within, and it's a triplex.
Wow.
So we flipped it in probably 2 months. Full gut job. And when we put it in the market, yes, it appraised for $520,000, but no one was buying because it was COVID. So it was very difficult. So I knew we had to pivot and said, because we were bleeding with the interest-only payments from the hard money lender. So we pivoted and did a basic BRRRR. So what we did was we refinanced it, got some of the capital out, and started putting renters in all 3.
Nice. Do you still have the house?
We do. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So who found the house and who did the job?
So my mom and dad found the job or the house. Yeah, because they were local and they said, hey, we found this one really nice house in Chicago, full brick. And I was like, okay, let's take a look at it. And you know, they asked me to run numbers and confirm the valuations. And so I confirmed it, knew how to evaluate company or the houses. And yeah, it looked like a home run.
And before that was your first fix and flip, or have you done any fix and flip before?
We've done a lot from our family. My family does
the family. Okay, so not just the medical field, the fix and flip as well. Okay. Okay, so great. So what happened next? So when did you say, you know what, I'm gonna start doing the construction company? Oh wait, with the crypto. We have to talk about the crypto.
There's a lot.
Yeah. It's like the whole book.
I could write a whole book on what happened here. So I guess let's fast forward back. So now we have 4 properties, right? We have 4 properties.
Yes. You asked me, I was like,
we have 4 properties, 2015, 2019, the Gastonia, and the Chicago property. Okay. So we're kind of rewinding all the way back to how I was able to quit eventually. But yeah, so what we did was we sold the house, moved back into the other one. We were homeless for a month. We lived at my friend's because we were waiting for those tenants to move out and end the lease on the last day of the month. Once they left, Brandy was disgusted with the place, so we had to completely overhaul the place and repaint it and really clean it to her standards, which is completely understandable. Other people have been living there. And so we were about technically homeless for a month. And then finally the house was, you know, one of our primary residents was finally livable. So we moved in, and now from here, I had the ability to quit because I was doing crypto, I was doing YouTube, I had 2 other properties that was cash flowing, and so that's what allowed me to eventually quit the 9 to 5. So that was a super long-winded answer from your original question, but I did not just quit and take a chance. I definitely had a couple things lined up before I was able to, just because my brain wouldn't allow me to just quit without anything to fall back on.
That makes sense. So crypto, you were doing great in real estate. When did you decide to take a chance in crypto, and how that work out for you?
Yeah, so
because so many people like the crypto idea, and there's so many. Nothing against the influencer, but so many influencers that reality might not get the results. In your case, what was your experience? And then, how did it go?
So crypto, I also did a lot of research, just like I did learning, investing, all that stuff. I wanted to make sure I knew and downloaded all the information that I could in my head before I even started to risk money in that field. Crypto, like you said, everybody loves crypto because it's sexy. It's the new thing. It's fast. And you see all sorts of stories all the time that people are becoming millionaires because of crypto. Yes, those are outliers, but crypto, I just learned everything I could. I started off with one of the projects. Everyone that followed my channel knows that it was a project that eventually did not do well, but the community was amazing. And I needed to talk to other people about crypto because when I would talk to Brandy, she would just look at me like super glossy-eyed. She didn't know what I was talking about.
What was the name of the movie?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, listen, you don't understand. This is amazing. It's the new thing. And I was just so passionate about it. And it was her that actually gave me the push to start YouTube. She said, you need
someone to talk to.
Yeah, you need someone to talk to. You need a better outlet other than me. She's like, I love you, but I think you need a better outlet. And so she's like, just do YouTube. Just start expressing YouTube about crypto. And I was like, I'll do it. And so at the time, I was still working a 9 to 5. And what I would do is I would come home, talk about crypto, and then upload it that same night. So I would record, edit, and launch it that same night. That's just how passionate I was about crypto. Wow. And then as you are in the environment more and more, what ends up happening is eventually you just soak up more information just by being surrounded, just like surrounding yourselves with like-minded individual. You just absorb it by osmosis.
Sure.
And so what ended up happening was I started learning about other crypto projects that nobody knew about, right? The mainstream media will push Bitcoin and Ethereum, the big blue chip that we were talking about, kind of like the FANG stocks, Facebook, Meta, Google. Those are like what you see on the news.
Sure.
But there existed a world under that, which was called DeFi, which is decentralized finance. And that is where I got hooked. And that's where I started really learning and making money in DeFi.
Okay. So, and you did that for how long? And in terms of like ballpark, I know every month is different. So how much were you making? Just to have an idea.
To have an idea, full transparency, I was making close to 35,000 a month just from the crypto play.
Okay. And you were doing that for how many hours a week?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. $35,000.
Yes.
Okay. And
I recorded myself.
Okay.
I recorded myself. I said, guys, no one believes me. I wake up, I start hitting record. I said, stay with me here. I'm going to show you guys full on live how I take profits. You go into the crypto project. It's been building over time. I take the profit. It goes into my wallet. I go to the other project. I take my profits. 5 minutes.
Wow. Okay. And you did that for how long? And when did that stop?
It was about a year and a half.
And why? Because it was great.
Yeah, I wish. I mean, I wish it kept going. So a year and a half to 2 years is how long that lasted. And of course, at the same time, YouTube was really like growing now. So I had crypto, I had YouTube, I had the 2 properties. And so
you were making money out of YouTube as well?
Yes, about 4,000.
The revenue, or you were selling something?
It was just ad revenue at the time. And then I got enough requests from people seeing that I was taking profits live. They wanted to learn how to do it. And so eventually I did take time to create my own course, and I did launch that course, and I sold 30 seats, and it was really amazing. It was about $30,000 there. But we have that live still. We have the Discord. People are still in there right now. And the reason we stopped was because the bear market eventually hit. And so just like housing and stuff, things slow down. But in cryptos, things go from 100 to -5. Yeah. To -5, -100. And so when the market sentiment is that negative, people don't want to put money in it. Even though the project itself looks great, no one will put money in it because they're scared. So I will definitely be in it again when the new bull market comes. Right now, we're still kind of teetering. Bitcoin is over 100,000, but it's still teetering. People don't know where it's going to go. But you'll know immediately when the bull market hits because people are going to start pouring money into it, and I will be right there again.
Okay. Did you lose a lot of money when you got out?
When I got out?
Yeah. Because usually you hear people say, okay, I was making all the money, and then I lost them all and more when getting out.
Right.
So were you able to look at it and say, you know what, this is not good for me right now? Because a lot of people say, you know what, I'm gonna continue doing it because I used to make $35,000 in 5 minutes. This will come back, and you still keep pouring money and money and money, and then well, you know what? That's when you hear the stories. I don't know if you saw. I remember it was a guy that I think he bought like a pizza for like four Bitcoins, like
before
something like that. Yeah, he said, I want to pay for a pizza. I don't have any money. Can you take like 4 or 5 Bitcoins? And the guy said, yes, that's fine. I'll take it. And then right now it's like it's a pretty expensive pizza.
Yeah, very
$500,000 right now. So in your case, did you lose some money, no money, or you lose a lot of money when you get out?
I didn't lose a lot of money getting out, but just like anything else, like the day trading and everything, you pay tuition from experience. Sure. So there's always a tuition payment that you pay to learn. And some of it sometimes is in the form of monetary experience. So when you learn and something crashed, you'll learn very quickly why it crashed. Okay, I won't do that again. Now I know what to look for. You do that and then it does better and then it crashes. And like, okay, what did this project do differently? So I learned fairly quickly what not to get into and what to get into. And at the end of it, I didn't lose a lot of money. I mean, comparatively to what I was making.
Okay.
So
No crypto. How do you recover for that? 5 minutes, $35,000. I mean, we have a joke in Spanish. You just wake up, have coffee, and then you have free the rest of the day. I mean, like it says, you take breakfast and you have you're done. I mean, you have nothing else to do. That was you.
Yeah.
So how did you recover? And how did you say, you know what, man? Because I guess if you have those returns, and then you're gonna go start doing anything in life, you're gonna compare. Oh my God! Now I have to work all of this to make that, or even less. So how was it?
It wasn't too difficult. It wasn't too difficult because Brandy and I didn't suscept ourselves to lifestyle creep. Yeah. So we didn't increase our house. We didn't buy any more Audis or motorcycles. We did buy.
Thank you that she came to your life.
Yeah, exactly.
You will get a boat,
or else I'd get a boat and probably another car or motorcycle. But what ended up happening was we did purchase a vehicle as a tax write-off. It had to be over 6,500 pounds in order for you to qualify for that tax write-off. But that was it. We still stayed in the same house. We still had the same car. And so we would have really been in trouble if we started
adjusted
we would have really been in trouble. But it wasn't that difficult. It hurt to see that kind of return and then drop. But because I still had YouTube, I still had the houses that was still paying passive income, it was okay. And so what ended up happening, and it just so happens, we can say it's God, but it
is God.
It's God. Yeah. So I had met her brother, which is Dylan.
Yeah.
And Dylan and I was still doing crypto, but it almost overlapped, right? There wasn't some space in there. It was an overlap. And Dylan and I figured that we would be working really good together because he came from an industry that was from construction, 10 plus years. And I came from an industry of almost 9 years of investing. I came from the investing side. And so him and I had a lot to teach each other and a lot to learn. And so what we ended up doing was we created a construction company. And that started doing very well almost immediately.
Okay, years. So when did you start? You see the kind of overlap. So when did you guys start the construction company? Working with the family sometimes is not the greatest thing in the world.
Yes.
So just say, because if you have a partner and you go home and you're like, oh, I hate the guy or the woman.
Yeah.
And then, but you don't have to see them in Thanksgiving and birthdays and Christmas. Yeah. In your case, you said that you guys are getting busy right away.
Yes.
So how did that happen? I mean, did you guys already have like a book of clients that said, you know what, we know you guys, we wanna follow you guys, and how was the dynamic working with your brother-in-law?
Sure, that's very important because I've had, full transparency. I've had this conversation with my family because obviously we stopped doing fix and flips and stuff like that just because the communication, how we communicated sometimes was just truthfully a little explosive.
I'm still the mom.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, Mom, okay, that doesn't override the whole project. You know what I'm saying? If she tries to pull something like that.
Did she ever say that? I'm still the mom?
No, we would just be explosive and sometimes quiet.
Okay.
But Dylan and I knew that we can communicate very well. Even if we had problems, even if we butted heads, it was easy for us to come to a solution. We would acknowledge it. We'd say, hey, listen, we shouldn't have done that. It hurt the company. It costed us some money. Let's learn from it. And he'll be like, okay, good. And then he'll do the same thing with me. He'll be like, hey, listen, do this, do that. And I'll be like, okay, I'll definitely learn on my end. And it was easy to be partners with him because we can communicate easily. Every single time there's a problem, we address it, we learn from it, and we move forward. So that was definitely important, is communication.
I always refer to a book called The Rocket Fuel. I don't know if you read it. Where it says that for any company, you need to have the visionary, which is the one with the idea, and the integrator, the guy who's going to put it together. If you have two visionaries, they're going to be dreaming the whole time. Nothing gets done. If you have two integrators, they never start because they're like overanalyzing. In your case, now obviously we have both. Usually everybody has both, but this one is the predominant. In your case, who's the visionary? Who's the integrator?
Yeah, this one is no surprise that Dylan is the integrator. He loves to be in the field, and when he sees this, he'll know and he'll completely understand. We tried to get Dylan. We're like, Dylan, what will you want to be? Because he's the COO and co-founder. I'm the CEO and co-founder. Okay. So he's the operating officer. And we said, Dylan, where do you want to be in 2 years? Completely off the field, or do you want to still be in the field? He's like, I love being in the field. That's just his character. That's his personality. He loves to be in the field. Whether that's just leading people, whether that's just supervising people, he still loves to be in the field. Up to a point, of course, because sometimes we got to reel him back. We're like, Dylan, you've been in the field way too long. Come back home. It's time to come back. And so he just loves being in the field. So yes, Dylan is the integrator, and I'm more of the visionary and trying to evolve the company and grow us and get to the next point.
How do you guys get busy that fast? Because usually when you open a company, that's one of the struggles, you know. So people fall in love with the process and they try to make it as nice as possible, and there's no clients coming in to pay the bills. So in your case, how did you guys start to get in the book of work?
Super blessed, because Dylan is a great guy. His demeanor, his personality, probably the most humble person you'll ever meet. Close to you, you're super humble too. So you guys would be like top tier humble people. And because of that personality and because of his character, he built a very powerful name for himself in that area. Everybody knew him. So he worked for another business that's a competitor that we're not going to talk about, and we're not going to talk about them. But what he ended up doing was he was pretty much the director of that company, and the only person above him was the CEO. So Dylan pretty much ran the company because the CEO was out in beaches.
That's great. So he already have the practice under somebody else's painting. Yeah.
Yep. So he has the practice. He's built a team. He had a team he was managing like 700 houses or something like that with a team of almost 200.
Wow.
So clients and homeowners didn't know the CEO. They were calling Dylan.
Sure.
And so when Dylan took the leap of faith with me to leave and go into that,
so he took the leap of faith.
He did.
So he was the one who jumped over.
He did.
The cliff.
He did.
Okay.
Well, we went to school for general contracting.
Okay.
And even during school, we started to land jobs. So he still hasn't quit his W-2 yet. We were already starting to land jobs because people were like, hey, Dylan, what are you doing? And Dylan's like, oh, I have a little side business. It's a contracting business. They're like, oh, perfect. Can you build this shed? Can you do this? And we already started landing. We landed a fix and flip while we were still in the GC school.
Okay.
And so what ended up happening was we were so booked that Dylan had to quit. And I know it was scary for him because I told him, I was like, Dylan, I know it's scary. We all, like anyone that took this leap knows it's scary to leave the W-2, to leave that paycheck. But you see all the work we have right now. He's like, that's it, I'm quitting. He quit his job. He quit his job. We went full blown into the construction business, and every person still contacted him. So every person said, hey, what are you doing? And Dylan's like, actually, I'm not with that company anymore. I just have my own company. And they're like, oh, perfect. Well, I have a lot of work for you. And that's why the work started coming in, was word of mouth as well as Dylan's reputation.
You said there, so he's not here. He's not local here in Charlotte.
No, it is 2 hours north.
Okay, 2 hours north, but you still live here.
I still live here.
So were you commuting there like regularly?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when Dylan and
I was waiting for it the whole time.
When Dylan and I first started, we didn't have any employees. It was just me and him. So I would get up at 3 or 4 in the morning every morning, drive there to be there by 6, 7. I still have to get ready. 6, 7. We were pumping about 90 hours a week. So I would come home maybe around 11 or 12. Our wives was they really supported us. We so much support. They're like, we're so happy that you guys are so busy and you guys are building this empire that you guys want so much. But you guys are still married, we want to see you a little bit. Yeah. And so we started to make sure that we carved a little time. We understood, they understood that this was going to be the requirement for temporarily. And so, yes, we were working roughly 90 hours a week for a long time. Because we were just landing jobs all over the place. And I mean, Dylan and I spent really 90 hours together a week. So.
Okay. So were you have any, you were doing fix and flip when your family, so you have like a construction background, and like it wasn't really new for you.
Yeah.
So you knew about it. Okay.
Right.
So you were doing it. How how did you evolve? Because sometimes when you have those 90 hours, it's hard to scale because you know what? Why should I go pay someone to do the job when I'm able to do it? And I see a lot of people that want to do real estate that happen all the time. Like, I'm not gonna pay a contractor. I'm not gonna pay a real estate agent. I mean, I want to sell the house myself. Why should I pay 6% commission? And that's why they don't grow. In your case, I know you are not doing the 90 hours anymore. You are now commuting because I see you multiple times around here. So how did you evolve and what was the process? So right now, how did you guys transition to like what you guys are doing right now? And then are you still getting a lot of business from that source, or you guys outgrew that and said, you know what, that's not something that we're doing right now?
Yeah. So what ended up happening was,
that's another good question.
Yeah. So how we transitioned out of that was trial and error.
Okay.
We definitely hired one person first. We're like, okay, we've never hired before. We're like, we're gonna take a step into hiring someone.
So he went from 200 to just by himself.
Dylan?
Yeah, he was managing a team of 200 people, and now yeah, which is tough too at the same time.
Yeah. So now he's managing one, but it's people that he knew and worked with, people in the other job, right? And they loved Dylan so much, they loved working for Dylan, that it was a no-brainer when they found out that we were hiring.
Okay.
And so they found out that we were hiring, he applied, and they already it was Dylan's pretty much lifelong friend.
Okay.
Right. And so I said, same probably thing about the family question. I said, Dylan, will this affect the work relationship since you guys are friends? And he's like, no, not at all. And so we hired the first person, and has been amazing since. He was our first hire. We actually gave him a raise just recently, so it was super cool. So now we have a power of 3. So we were kind of 3 of us working in the field. Then we started getting bigger and bigger jobs. I mean, I thank my dad for the handyman skills that I have. Like, I'm pretty good at things, but I'm not at Dylan's level.
Sure.
And we started to land jobs that was already outside of my skill set. And I felt like I was just slowing them down more. And so this is where Dylan and I decided to split, right? I will focus on the back end side of the business and grow us and make network connections and learn whatever I need to learn, market, sales, advertise, so that we can grow. And then you and, at the time, Lucas, can continue pumping out the work because you guys are amazing. And so that's when we decided that we were going to do that. We hired one more person.
Okay.
And now Dylan was a team of 3 in the field, and they were all amazing in the field, and I was on the back end.
That's great, because a lot of people in that situation, if the person is Dylan, I'm doing the work now. Yes, you're gonna go on the back end, but obviously a lot of people, the labor, the physical labor is staff. I'm not saying I'm not trying to diminish, but sometimes it's more better use of your time doing something else. Just do sales and everything else. But the guy who's doing the physical work, they put in the 80 hours, 89 hours. Sometimes don't see it that way. So I'm the one here just killing myself, and you in the back office try to make it business. So did you guys have any issue with that, or no, not at all?
No issues at all on that front. And that's the thing that I really promote with Dylan, and he agrees, is that if there's anything bothering you, if there's any problems, I don't want to play a guessing game. Let me know, and we'll handle it, and we'll talk about it, and we'll figure a solution out. And so that's what we did. And he, like I said, he loves being in the field. It's actually difficult to get Dylan off the field. That's how much he loves it. And so he feels good when he works with his hands and he sees a product being produced from it. And so did I. When I was working the 90 hours, I said, believe it or not, I would rather do this than work behind a desk. I'm being completely honest. Like, there is a labor of love. You feel fulfilled, and you see what you have built at the end of it. It just feels like no other feeling.
Yeah, and it's weird that I said that, because I'm most of the time here, and I work in the office for a long time. But when you do labor, you have an end product, you finish, and you're done. You get home and oh my God, I'm tired. But that's it, But when you do something like sales, or like something behind the scenes, you tend to carry that with you the whole time. That's why we have a and we went to a presentation recently here. A guy was a meetup, and the guy said, I was there in family vacation. You can see the pictures. I was there. My body was there, but my mind wasn't there. It's because I was thinking about, oh my God, I have to fix all those issues that I have, and that's the struggle sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't see it that way, but it's still the struggle. So, tiny homes, which is the title of the show, and something that's super passionate. I mean, I'm not super passionate. I'm super interested. I want to know because lately, like just a couple of years ago, when if you tell someone, listen, you're gonna be having people renting places in your house, like rooms in your house. You can rent like vacation instead of going to a hotel. You get to a place, you will say that sounds crazy, which is Airbnb. And now it's weird because you go to stay in people's homes, like it was nothing, and you feel comfortable. The same thing with Uber, you know, like, oh my God, they just have the idea, you just take a car that you know who the person is, and now you feel so comfortable because you have an app and they give you the security. Okay, no, look, at least this guy is in the app and everything. So the world's evolving, and one of the things that I realized is the concept of the tiny homes. When I was back in New York, I was in the Westchester County in New Jersey area, like an older generation in terms of like guidelines and everything. Nothing can be done. Everything like it's a nightmare. People like they're not really open to new ideas. Although you're gonna tell me in the New York past something about tiny homes, but I get that gotta be more like upstate, not just close to the city. How did you get into the tiny homes, which makes sense? We mentioned bigger pockets. Brandon Turner, years ago, he was talking about those mobile home parks, and he was talking about it. And when you hear that, and I was in New York, I was like, yeah, that sounds like a movie somewhere else, because we don't. And I never saw one of those until I moved here. And I drive around and I see them. I'm like, oh, that's why he was talking, the mobile home parks. And so in your case, how did you guys came up with the idea? What did the market looks like for that, and how does it work? I mean, can people just buy one of those and put it in the backyard, or how's that playing out with you guys?
Sure. So there's 3 audience targets that we're going for when we're targeting tiny home sales.
How big are the homes are?
They're around 350 square feet.
Okay.
And then they are all on wheels. We're offering 3 different products right now. One's like a mobile cabin, one's a homestead, and one looks like a cabana. Okay. Super cool. They all look so modern and really clean on the inside. And so when we're targeting these people, one, it's either for people that are investors that want to go and expand their short-term rentals. That's a no-brainer. There's also other people that want to utilize some of the space that they have in their back. If they're either HOA or their house allows it, they can add a ADU.
ADU, yeah.
An ADU in the back of their house. And then there's some people that just want to fully move into a tiny home. They were wanting to join the tiny home movement. If you go on YouTube, there's just so many people. I don't know if you've YouTubed it, but people are just like, I love this tiny home. It minimizes all the clutter. It minimizes all of my materialistic things. And there's this entire movement for this tiny home.
What will people go? I'm sorry to cut you, but what will people choose a tiny home instead of an RV? An RV has a bathroom. RV has a bedroom. It's in wheels as well. You can drive it. What will people choose? What will people choose tiny homes instead of an RV?
It depends on your lifestyle. So there are content creators out there that live permanently on an RV, but they're always on the road. And then there's some that just want to establish a permanent residence, but still have a place to call their own. And so I love both. When I watch both on YouTube, I just think it's so cool. When I talked to Brandy, I was like, could we do an RV lifestyle? Like, can we just travel around? And Brandy says yes, but I don't know. We'll see if we could actually do that. And then there's some that just want to be like, you know what? I don't want this extravagant house. It for my needs, I just want a tiny home, a place to call my own, and I'm here settled in.
Price-wise, an RV, they're not cheap. They're pretty expensive.
They're pretty expensive. They can range between $30,000 to $40,000, even north, depending on if you get a fifth wheel or a normal trailer.
Yeah, and how about a tiny home?
Tiny homes can range anywhere between. You'll see them anywhere between, and I'll tell you the ranges. Some you'll see for $30,000. You're like, that's amazing. But we'll go back into that. And then the ones we're selling is probably 100 to 125.
Okay.
And so why is there such a big gap is because the people selling the $30,000 ones is just selling the frame.
Okay.
Nothing is in it. So when they ship it to people, the buyer is responsible for fully furnishing it, completing the installation, completing everything that needs to be in there, and then get it inspected. We are offering a full turnkey solution. So it is completely built, ready to go. When it ships, you can put it on a permanent foundation if you want, open the door, and you can start putting whatever you want in it, ready to go, turnkey.
Okay, so turnkey, bathroom, kitchen, everything.
Everything.
You say insulation, so
it's ready.
It's ready, because I saw that. I was preparing for the show, and I saw like I even saw something even less expensive in Amazon for like, but I was like have to be a different product, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so how's your experience just getting clients that want that? Because like in everything in life, there's always you have to figure out if there is a need, like you mentioned before, and so you can fulfill that need with the product. How is that working out for you guys?
So we wanted to do some market research first before we even decided to go down this venture. And so Dylan and I spent some time, all props to Dylan, because he was looking at it. He's like, you know what? We're trying to scale our business. What's the best way we could do? We could keep doing what we're doing right now and just get more clients and get more work and hire more people. Or there's a different way. And so he had found tiny homes, and it led us down a rabbit hole to where we started almost Googling these different companies that was building tiny homes. And majority of them was about 1 to 2 years booked out.
Wow.
There's a company called Boxable. I think I was telling you about them. They actually just went public or something like that within investing. They are now a $1 billion company. And what they do, their whole fame to glory is they ship a house that's flat and it opens it as a box.
Yeah.
And it's ready to go. And so that's a $1 billion company. So the market is dictating that a lot of people are moving more towards tiny houses right now. And so if we have a $1 billion company that went live on the stock exchange, and then we have other small contracting companies that's building tiny houses and they're booked out for 1 to 2 years, then that's enough for us to be like, okay, there is a market need for this. There are people that are really selling and doing this. So that's all we really needed to see.
Okay, so someone has a backyard, like you said, as long as the HOA permitted, if there is an HOA or like the city limit, the city permit. So you have a backyard, you can put it there, and I guess you have to find out just hook the electricity and then the plumbing and everything.
Yep.
Can people get finance for that? Because I was thinking, okay, let's say for the co-living, go back to the co-living property. You have your 3 tenants or 4 tenants living there. But you have a backyard, so you might have another like a short-term rental, or you can just have like a long-term rental. Or I don't know how big it is it to do like a co-living, but can you finance it?
So we've been trying to work with a couple banks right now, and Truist, one of them, said that they can do like a personal loan, and just the tiny home at the time wasn't qualifying for a full mortgage, like one of their traditional products that they sell. But there are other lenders out there that is willing to lend for the tiny house. So if it's $100,000, $125,000, it is qualified under their lending program. So you just have to find out which banks, which lenders. It doesn't have to necessarily be a bank. It could be a private lender. It could be one of the meetups that you and I went to. That guy was lending for this type of product. So you just have to call and see which ones you would qualify for. Because as it currently stands, by the time someone purchases a tiny house from us, they needed to have done the financing on their end. But what we're trying to do and evolve is we want to partner with some lenders and some banks. That way we have everything in-house. So by the time someone contacts us and they're interested, we'll ask them, hey, do you have financing ready? If not, we have someone that you can try and apply for to get qualified.
I think that would be huge, because a lot of people will love the concept. Like sounds great. Sounds like a great idea, but how can I buy it? And how can I make sense of the purchase for like spend $100,000, $120, when I might be able to use that to do like a down payment to buy a house. It's going to give me a better return of investment. But if you can finance it, depends on the terms. I said, you know what, it might make sense. You know, the tenants can pay for it, and what is the lifespan of the tiny home? I mean, do they last for how long? When do you have to like start just fixing it? Because I was thinking in terms of the loan. How many years will the loan will be, and then so the tenant is paying for it, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then, but then at some point you have to do some, I guess, renovations, or you have to.
Yeah, it's just normal house renovations because it's built like a house.
Yeah.
So it's imagine a bigger house but condensed. Everything is still the same. It's got siding, it's got framing, it's got insulation, it's got drywall inside. It's got plumbing, electrical. So if anything goes wrong, you just repair it like a normal house.
A normal house.
That's it.
Yeah. And in terms of lifespan, I mean, still too young in the space.
Yeah.
How long? Because I was thinking about like the trailer park. The people, those mobile home parks, talking about Brandon Turner, the business is just to like buy the lot and rent it out, and sometimes sell the trailer or even to rent it out. But a lot of people say, you know what, the trailers, I don't know, I don't recall how many years they last. And they said, you know what, the business is just to buy the lot and rent it and let them just get the trailer and put it there. And when it's old, just throw it out and just get a new one. So how long do you think they will last in terms of like age?
I think they can last as long as you maintain the property.
Yeah, you have to maintain it too.
Right. Like if you give a person A who loves to trash a house whenever they rent it versus person B who takes great care of the house, they maintain it, it can last as long as they maintain it very well.
Nice. So, what are the biggest obstacles to grow that business?
The biggest obstacle right now is, if you're trying to launch one like this, is learning the legalities and municipality laws of other states, because the beauty of our side is it is built and manufactured and shipped from North Carolina. So everything is done on our side. We're licensed general contractors. So all the permits and stuff was pulled correctly. And by the time we ship it to you guys are in charge or responsible for making sure that your area is okay for this tiny house. Majority of the time, it's not a problem. Again, the only issue you'll start to run into is, like we said, if you're within city limits, you're in an HOA and stuff like that. But people already know that, so not a lot, but you still have to educate yourself, and you have to be at least aware of those things. Getting the contracts and stuff written correctly, especially if we want to include our own financing. We're even looking at doing in-house financing. We're wanting to learn how we can do that to offer financing on ourselves. Right, we could be the bank. So there's still a lot of learning in this. We're not experts by any means, but we've already learned a lot along the way. And so really the hurdle is, I mean, we've already sent out some feelers of people that might want some tiny houses, and the feedback has already been overwhelming a little bit. It's way more than 15 to 20, and if 15 to 20 prospects. So, I mean, we haven't even officially advertised it yet. So, I mean, it's looking pretty bright. We just want to make sure that we are completely set up on the back end, ready to go. And I think we have the team ready to do that. So we're getting really close. So it's going to be really exciting times.
Yeah, sounds exciting. Like I was thinking about like Harmony lenders. I know a lot of them have the line of credit, and they just but this is short-term loans. In your case, I guess have
like
to be
a lending tree.
Yeah, like that. It has to be like okay. Sounds great. I mean, sounds amazing. That's something that I tell people. When you move out of like state, I don't know how Chicago, but I didn't move out in New York. You realize this the whole it's like the movie from Disney. It's like the whole new world because those ADUs. I heard about them in Florida. I'm sorry, in LA, California. But when I came here, people do it left and right, you know. In New York, they love the ADUs.
They love it. They can use it as a guest house for family or friends, or they can use it as their own little man cave or getaway. Like, people love the ADUs here. That's for sure.
I know, and if the municipalities are open to it, amazing. So, what is next moving forward? Tiny homes. What else do you guys have on the horizon, and how do you guys see that evolve in terms of you and Dylan and Brandy and everything?
Yeah, we're going to continue growing the business as much as we can. We're going to see how far we can push the tiny home project out. And if we're super blessed enough to be booked out for 1 to 2 years, we're going to continue going down that avenue. We do have requests already for new builds for just traditional houses. And sometimes the return on that just isn't as good for our time. For us, it's always time to resource or time to revenue. And for a house, sometimes it'll take a year, maybe a little more to get that built, depending on the county, of course. Pulling permits and stuff is like grinding teeth. It's so difficult, and there's so much red tape. And so if let's say Dylan and I want to take on building traditional houses, it's not something that we find ourselves passionate about. And that's the one word you're talking about, is passion. And we're not so passionate about that, but these tiny homes is so cool. It's really what we think is the new thing. It's the new trend. People, the new generation, they're loving this movement. And the houses themselves are so unique that it is cool to build. It's not just a box. It's not like a what do we call it? Like those Amazon houses or the the trailers and stuff like that. That's just the box, a rectangular box. It's not. The designs are so cool, and I've sent you some of the designs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very cool.
It's amazing. It's modern. It's really cool. So it's something that excites us. So we'll see how far we can push that this year, and then we'll kind of go from there. The business itself has pivoted so many times since we started, just because it requires a bigger, better version of us every single time, like almost on a month-to-month basis. It's crazy.
Yeah, you were telling me you were doing like bath tubs as well.
Hot tubs, yeah.
Hot tubs. I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. We can stay here talking the whole day. I love to talk about these kind of subjects, but I want to be respectful of your time. I want to ask you a couple of questions in regards of like your things that you do out of real estate in terms of hobbies. So what do you like to do for hobby when you are not thinking about how to grow the business, thinking about like when crypto is coming back? What do you like to do for fun?
Yeah, this is something that I actually thank Abundance for, because being married with Brandy, I'm still relatively new. We're about to go on our 2-year anniversary, so in a month. Thank you. So we're still relatively new, but because of GoBundance, I have seen a pillar about relationships and friendships, and so I want to make sure I make a conscious effort to go on dates with Brandy at least once a week. Take her out, make sure that we're not just falling into this trap of just going through the day-to-day motions, and then things start to get stale. So when I'm off and I'm not doing real estate or I'm not doing the business stuff in the evenings, I do love spending time with my wife, and I love finding ways to have a creative date with her. And then, of course, since I was a kid, my passion has always been kind of gaming. I am a little nerd in the inside, so I do love gaming. So sometimes at night when I need to just unwind, I will pop in a video game and play with some friends and just unwind that way. One of the pillars in GoBundance is, bucket list adventures. I used to snowboard a lot. And that has kind of fallen through the cracks. And I'm wanting to reignite that as well. Now that we have a little bit of snow here in North Carolina, I want to definitely snowboard some more. So yeah, just hanging out with the wife. We got a new puppy and video gaming.
I was waiting for tennis. I didn't hear tennis.
Tennis is in there. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I thought you play every week.
Yeah, I do play every week. So we do play tennis.
But that's not a hobby.
I didn't really think of it as a hobby, but yeah, it's a hobby, and it's a chance for me to get out and exercise a little bit. So tennis for sure. Yeah, I've been playing tennis for a while. I used to be ranked in the USTA in Illinois. So I never really thought about that.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. They said that I used to work for attorneys for a long time, and they said attorneys, and I guess podcasts that should be doing the same. Well, that's what I tried to do. I tried to ask a question when I kind of know the answer already. Yeah. So I was like, okay, so if that person is gonna answer this, I can just try to just follow up. So
I threw you for a loop because I didn't.
Yeah, I was waiting for tennis. I was like, what happened with tennis? Who are you? I just see those guys on TV like, my investigation department it dropped the ball because they say here that you love tennis. Okay, so recommend us a book. A lot of people love the usual, the Rich Dad Poor Dad, the richest person in Babylonia. All of those are great books. I'm not saying they're bad, but recommend us like a book that are not the usual that you think people should read.
Okay. I hope it's not one that a lot of people know about, but I'm sure someone like you have heard about it. But it really did change our business. It saved our business. I will say that it was such a turning point because at the time, Dylan and I wasn't really good with finances and accounting. You have the integrator and you have the visionary. There's no one in there that's good at math, right? So what we were doing, and this is so stupid to think about, but when we were growing, so much money was coming in, but we didn't know where it was going, right? And when I read the book, it was so eye-opening that almost a majority, 80 to 90% of businesses operate like this, where they have one account, money comes in, money comes out, and you don't know where it's going. Do you have money saved up in taxes? Do you have money for what-if scenarios? So a book that really, truly was implemented and changed our business was Profit First.
Okay,
Profit First, amazing. Dylan was skeptical. He's like, there's no way. He's like, how would we create just 5 different accounts and all of a sudden we're going to be profitable? We were. It was like magic to him. And so Profit First is really, really good. It saved our business, and I recommend it to everyone because if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, there is got to be some structure to your finances. And so the premise of the book is just making sure that each portion of the 5 accounts is gets a certain percentage. So like tax is 15%, operating expenses is 40%, owner's compensation. Dylan and I were actually able to pay ourselves more after we implemented it. And at the time we were like, Dylan's like, how is that even working? And with Profit First, it's a big push into, if you guys are the owners of the business, you yourself get a reward for being a business owner. Sure. And so you actually get quarterly bonuses that we didn't even get before. So Profit First is a game changer for business owners.
So didn't love the book.
Loved it. Loved it. Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing.
Okay, as a matter of fact, you're the first person that recommended the book. I've been having like 100 and I would say like 120, maybe 140 guests. And I heard all different kind of books. Great, like fiction and business, obviously, real estate, even some about faith, but not now Profit First. I have to check it out.
Yeah.
I haven't read it. And then you recommend us a movie or a series, something that you said. It doesn't have to be like business-wise. It could be anything that you feel, you know what, it's a good use of an hour and a half, 2 hours of time. Or if it's a series, it's more than 2 hours anyway.
So I love horror movies, but Brandy...
my daughter Valerie will love it.
Love horror movies, but Brandy cannot do it at all. She has nightmares. So we have to watch stupid shows that is just mind-numbing to her. Yeah. So we watch all this reality show all the time because that way we can just turn off our brain and watch people's drama, and we just enjoy it. At first, I was like, Brandy, this is ridiculous that we're watching this. But later on, you'll see me, I'll be like, I cannot believe that person did that. And so
I knew that was it.
Yeah, I cannot believe that person did that. And so we just watch like Love is Blind, that stuff on Netflix. And every now and then when, Brandy's on her tablet, I will watch like a scary movie. I'll just be like, don't look at the screen, because I'm watching something.
You can just mute it. You muted. It's weird because Valerie loves the scary movies.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't really love it. And the issue with me is that I start laughing and I start
laughing.
No, and I start telling, okay, listen, 3, 2, I don't like you can I read a book about storytelling.
Okay.
And the guy was like the structure of like all the movies and everything. So I kind of knew when the bad guy's gonna come, and I know, unfortunately, that all of that is fake. So I know. I said, okay, so this is they're playing with camera lights and so on. And so when that happened, I'm still laughing, and I kind of ruined the movie.
Yeah, but you know it's fake. We all know it's fake. I am not numb to horror movies. I actually do get scared, but because I'm an adrenaline junkie, it spikes my adrenaline. No. So I'm like, even though I'm about to watch it and I know it's gonna scare me, I know it's fake, but I'm still scared. I don't know why. I don't know why we do it to ourselves.
I don't get scared unless when it's something dark, like an evil, something that may be kind of it's not in alignment with the faith.
Yeah,
and so I don't get scared. I get guilty. Okay, so this is not the content that should be.
This is close.
This is close
to home.
Yeah, this is not good. But I start laughing because and especially because I know that it's so obvious. They start putting the music, dun, dun, dun. I know that's going to happen. Like something's going to happen. Bah! Okay, so that's good. What do you think is your differentiator? How come you're able to do all of that, to pivot from like physical therapy, IT, crypto, real estate, now you're doing tiny homes. In the future, who knows what's coming? So how come you're able to do that when so many people struggle only to leave the W-2? Nothing wrong with the W-2. Some people should not never leave the W-2.
Right.
Some people are made to be in a W-2 and they're extremely happy, and they even make more money that way. They just live it. I'm not promoting it. It's a culture right now. All W-2 sucks. I think one of the guys even within GoBunders hating about corporate jobs and everything. Nothing against them. Some people are not kind for it.
Yes.
So in your case, what do you think is it? What is your it?
Yeah. Before I do that, I do want to tag onto what you were saying there. There's nothing wrong with W-2, right? Even though I'm passionate about, I think people have one life to live and they need to live it how they want to do it. Not everyone can handle entrepreneurship. It is stressful. Yeah, you guys might see the glamorous side of things all the time, but there is a stresses on the back end. And so what makes me different is I've always, and I've gotten this from my friends also, that I've never just been scared to jump into something. I'll always do it. I'm like, hey, you know what? If it fails, it fails, but I'm not going to get analysis paralysis. And so when I wanted to jump into Airbnb my own house. I was like, you know what, let's try it. And so I furnished the room and we just tried it. I wanted to house hack. I wanted to try it. Like, well, let's just go do the things. Like, you need to take action. And that's the one thing that differentiates me is I love to take action. And I'm never scared to. So if like there's a great idea, it pans out, it's not just a dream, then why not? Let's try it and let's see where it goes. What's the worst thing that can happen? It fails, that's okay. Now you learned a little bit from it and you can start again, or now you've maybe acquired some new information or acquired some new intel that will help you with your future endeavors. But what's the best thing that can happen? It can rock it and change your life. So the pros always outweigh the cons for me about when it comes to taking action. So I've always been able to pivot. I've always been able to learn crypto, and I've always been able to do these things because I just go all in all the time and I just take action. And the stress, Dylan and I were just talking about this, being able to handle stress also is important because some people do get crippled by stress. And I think that you guys, every person is different, but you just need to find a healthy outlet and a healthy way to relieve your stress or find a way to get that out of there.
Love it. Love it. Where can people find about you? Where can people follow your career, your projects? If crypto comes back, no, and I'm not, let me say that. It'll come back. I mean, everything is cyclical and the things are going, yes. But how can people follow you?
Throughout all the social medias. So X, Facebook, and Instagram. You can just type 0xRJ, and 0x is actually the beginning of a wallet address, like a crypto wallet address. Okay. So if you have an Ethereum wallet, it'll begin with 0x. So I just kind of combine it with my name. So it's 0x and then my first name, Arjay.
Oh, sounds pretty cool. Okay, thank you. God bless you, man. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Looking forward to have you again. And all of you, thank you for being here once again. We would like to invite you to our next meetup, next Wednesday, or if you watch this after the February 5th, we're going to be having new shows released every Thursday morning. God bless you all. Have an amazing weekend. Bye.
Thanks.